versus Eric Martin.
And I'm sure the prosecutor's shaking his head going, not this freaking idiot again. All right there, boys and girls. Eric Martin, as some of you know, is a SovCit idiot. But he is a special breed of SovCit idiot. He is one of the most just inept idiots I've ever come across in the, year and a half I've been doing this. And it's just to watch him in court is actually kind of funny. It's not so much funny for the judge or the prosecutor because they have to listen to this bullshit, but enjoy, folks.
Jeff Fanto on behalf of Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin requests that the charges be read, and he is not entering a plea of any nature to this matter. He's asking the court dismiss this matter for lack of subject matter jurisdiction and for a violation of his due process rights.
Not gonna happen! No, not gonna happen! Not.
And yet nobody to this day, not even his guru, have been able to convince him that this isn't actually a thing.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Martin. The allegation against you in this misdemeanor warrant, it alleges on October 5th of 2024 at the address of 9074 Clifford Street in the city of Taylor, Michigan, that the complaining witness has filed a sworn complaint in this court stating that on the date and location described, the defendant, contrary to law, count 1, domestic violence, did make an assault or an assault and battery upon Kurt Joseph Martin, a resident or former resident of his household, contrary to MCL 750.81, parent 2. This is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail and or a fine of $500.
I got an idea. How about his bitch ass stop beating up on women? Just a suggestion.
A consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Mr. Martin, I've signed an order appointing counsel to you. Mr. Martin, did you go over your constitutional rights?
He's going to plead the fifth, Your Honor.
We went
All right.
in a discussion, but he would not permit me
to sign the form. All right, Mr. Martin, if you require accommodations to use the court because of disabilities, or if you require a foreign language interpreter to help you fully participate in court proceedings, please contact the court immediately to make arrangements.
Well, he seems to struggle with just basic English, but I highly doubt that you have an interpreter that can help out this level of moron.
You have been brought to court on a misdemeanor charge, and you have the following basic rights: to plead guilty or not guilty, or to stand mute. If you stand mute, a plea of not guilty will be entered. You may plead no contest with the permission of the court. You have a right to a trial by jury and to have the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to an attorney appointed at public expense if you are indigent, without money to hire an attorney, and if the offense charged requires a minimum jail sentence. Sir, the charge against you does not have a minimum jail sentence, or the court determines that it might sentence you to jail. I have appointed an attorney for you. You have the right to a trial, and at that trial, you have the following rights: to call witnesses to speak for you at trial, and you can get an order signed by the court to require witnesses to come to court. You have a right to see, hear, and question all witnesses against you at trial. You have a right to be a witness for yourself or to remain silent.
I don't know if she just muted him, but I have never seen a judge be able to say this much without Eric Martin interrupting. You go, girl.
If you choose not to be a witness on your own behalf, the prosecuting official could not comment on your refusal to testify. You also have the right to be presumed innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If you plead guilty or no contest and your plea is accepted, you will not have a trial of any kind, and you will give up the rights listed in items 3 and 5 above. You have the right to be released on bond. If you are now on probation or parole and you enter a plea of guilty or no contest, or a finding of guilt is made by a judge or jury, it may result in a violation of your probation or parole. You can be sentenced to fines and jail plus costs. The court will tell you on the record the name of the offense, which I've done, the mandatory minimum jail, there is none, and if any, and the maximum possible penalty for the offense, which I have done. Fines and costs and other financial obligations imposed by the court must be paid at the time of assessment, except when the court allows otherwise for good cause shown. If you are not able to pay due to financial hardship, contact the court immediately to request a payment alternative under MCR 6.425, parent D, parent 3.
Hey, Eric, I got a suggestion.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
An appeal to circuit court may be taken within 21 days from the date of sentence or as permitted pursuant to MCR 6.625, parent B. If the sentence includes incarceration and you wish to file an appeal but are financially unable to retain a lawyer, the court will appoint a lawyer to represent you on appeal if the request for a lawyer is made within 14 days of the date of sentencing. Federal law and or state law may prohibit you from possessing or purchasing ammunition or a firearm, including a rifle, pistol, or revolver. If you are convicted of a misdemeanor crime of violence and you are a current or former spouse, parent, or guardian of the victim, you share a child in common with the victim, you are or were cohabitating with the victim as a spouse, parent, or guardian, or you are or were involved with the victim in another similar relationship.
It makes you wonder if he's just sitting there looking at the judge going, guess no means no, huh, Your Honor?
The court does have subject matter jurisdiction in this case, so that request is denied. Did I cover everything, Mr. Fanto?
Yes, sir.
And since your client is selecting, Mr. Martin is selecting to remain silent, I will enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf. His bond is to be set at, I see he has, at least the jail records are indicating he has a $25,000 hold out of Brighton.
That's actually, it's MSP Brighton, but it's, the jurisdiction is Ypsilanti. It's a driving while license suspended. I can only guess that that's a typo. There's no felony attached to it. It's not like a driving while license suspended with injury or anything of that nature. I have to believe that's a typo.
All right, well, the jail will call MSP Brighton and they'll clear that up, but sir, I'm going to give you a personal bond. Mr. Martin, I'm sorry.
I said that is an illegal warrant. I was at jury selection on this day when Earl Washington says.
All right, 1 second, Mr. Martin, you have a listen to me. I'm trying to protect your rights, sir. You have a constitutional right to remain silent.
In other words,
shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
I don't know anything about that case, and I don't want you to make any statements on the record that might affect your rights. Because anything you say in here can be used against you.
What I got to say. Okay. I wish to exercise my First Amendment right, freedom of speech, and to self-defend myself for these charges you guys are making fraudulent presumptions of.
You're not in court this morning because of some grand conspiracy against your stupid ass. You're in court this morning because apparently you can't stop beating up on your wife. So please, stop beating up on your wife.
First of all, the warrant's not legitimate, it's not legal, it's not lawful. I was there at the jury trial. If you guys look into that, you'll see it's fact. And just because I didn't say I was a legal fiction corporate entity defendant named Eric Martin, which I'm not, I'm a living man.
First of all, you're not a man. All right, you're a coward. Next, the reason that they entered you as a failed to appear warrant is because you refused to identify yourself on the record in court. And if you don't identify yourself on the record in court, guess what, moron? You failed to appear. Swing and a miss, strike two.
One of the sovereign people. So because I didn't admit that fraudulent thing on and commit perjury, she says, okay, I'm going to do a warrant for Eric Martin, the defendant. So that's what this is about. So it's unlawful, it's illegal.
It's just kind of my own personal way of saying I can't actually stand the sight of you.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Martin, I went to law school and practiced law for 20 years and it's not. So listen.
But it's 28.
Damn! Boom. Roasted.
And that, Your Honor, is how you do that. You don't tolerate his bullshit. You tell him flat out, that's your courtroom, man, and you remind him he's not in charge of anything. Put that wife-beating clown in his place. Good job, Your Honor.
In this case, I'm going to mute you so you can hear what I'm saying to you, Mr. Martin, because it's important. You have a $2,500 personal bond. You are to appear in court as directed.
In other words, Eric, do as you're told, bitch.
You're not to leave the state without permission of the court. You're not to commit any new crimes while released. You're to immediately notify the court of change of address or phone number. You can have no contact with Kurt Martin while this case is pending. You cannot purchase or consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and you cannot possess or have access to firearms. We will send you notice of your next court date, sir, to you in the mail. And Brighton, I don't know if they'll come and get you or not, but that's for them to decide. But I'm letting you know those are your bond conditions today.
Judge, he may need an officer assist from.
Can I see that one more time? I'm sorry. Thanks.
He doesn't need an officer assist. He needs assistance from a therapist.
All right. You have one time allowed to visit the premises to obtain your personal belongings accompanied by a police officer on one occasion, sir. But if the complaining witness in this case lives at that house on Clifford, you cannot return to 9 Clifford while this case is pending. And you do have an exception. You are allowed one visit to the premises to obtain your personal belongings but you must be accompanied by a police officer.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And well, since he can't seem to behave at home, if he gets bailed out of jail this time, it looks like it's back to the homeless shelter with Glenn Serio. Anyway, guys, it's Wrangler. I'm out of here. I love y'all. Have a good one.